Newfoundlanders, the last people to embrace Confederation, are willing to go Canadian all the way now, but preferably Canadian national, which they hope will change their mind about ending one of the more cherished institutions of Newfoundland, the Newfie Bullet. The Newfie Bullet may be just another Newfie joke to mainlanders. It's an old narrow-gauge railway which rushes travelers along at all of 25 miles an hour, if you count the stops, between St. John's and Port aux Basques. Sometimes the high winds that scream in from the roaring main have been known to blow the train more or less off the plane. The CNR, which manages the Bullet, says it would take $200 million to straighten out the track, so they've applied to end the service and institute a shiny new bus service, which would cost $100 million. But Newfies say the buses, they'd never make her in the winter. Besides that, if the train goes down the drain, it would be the end of an institution, a tradition, and a way of life. And where, too, would you be getting a bottle of beer aboard of a bus?
I wish I had the power to change the course of time, to live again in Newfoundland, the home of childhood time.
What's the distance between Port aux Basques and St. John's?
547.8 miles.
How long does it take you to get there in your train?
21 hours and 35 minutes.
24 hours to go across the country. And a bus can go across 12 hours. I say get a bus. That's for sure.
Get a bus. Where are you going to get a bottle of beer aboard of a bus? Where are you going to get bathroom privileges aboard of a bus? When you're on the bus, you have a couple of beer before you get aboard the bus. And you got a 6-hour drive. Where are you going to get bathroom privileges aboard of a bus?
It was romantic and it was exciting. I'll never forget, in these wooden cars, the smell of the stove, the coal stove down in the end of the car, burning and giving heat and throwing out the stench and the smoke and the fumes and the gas from the stove. And that smell mixed with the smell of oranges. Everybody that got aboard a train in Newfoundland carried oranges. Everybody, didn't matter who you were, you brought oranges aboard, and everybody was peeling the oranges and eating the oranges and giving them to the children. It was the accepted thing, like turkey for Christmas Day, you know, oranges when you took aboard the train. And the smell of people and of coal, smoke and fumes from the stove, the bogey down at the end of the car, and the orange being peeled and eaten.
Our top speed is 50 miles an hour.
And what's your average?
I would say about 25. We have 1,775 curves between here and Port aux Basques. And we have about 45 miles of over 2% grade. And unless we can cut off 10 hours of the schedule that will compete with Trans-Canada competition, we figure it's a useless endeavor.
You know yourself, if he puts down a new track, you've got to motorize it. And I grant you, not so plain and fair as the prairies, and more as the prairies so scenic as Newfoundland is either. And you tell me where there's a straight railway over there. Ontario.
I've been traveling up there for the last 18 years.
What can you see of it? What can you see of it?
I know the railway. The railroad is straight. The tracks are straight. They're not like a cow's bed.
That's only baloney you're talking about. And if you put in the one and right. Now let's talk about you and your cow track. We had a cow track across Newfoundland before they put the railway, before they put the Trans-Canada highway there. Right. When they put the Trans-Canada, they straightened her out. And they can do the same with the railroad. They can straighten her out a bit too. When they widen her out. I don't know if you ain't got a cow's fat down where you live right now. Hallelujah!
One thing was remarkable, and that was the food. Our trains were always absolutely famous. The best meal you could get in Newfoundland, maybe except Government House, if you happened to be invited to Government House, which you wouldn't be. No one was ever invited to Government House except the aristocracy. But the ordinary human flesh, you know, would never get near there. So short of Government House, the great meal you get was on Newfoundland trains. The cooks were excellent. They were excellent. And the way they would serve that food and get in the diner, it was an experience you'd never forget in all your life. Now, when the CNR came, that somehow went. Eating on the CNR trains was never quite the same experience. There wasn't the same camaraderie. There wasn't the same local, purely Newfoundland way of life and talk and eating and sitting down and standing up. It was a peculiarly local Newfoundland way of it. Now, after Confederation, the same chefs, the same cooks, the same waiters, the same stewards and all that, but somehow they began to be more efficient. And in being more efficient, they became less human and less... I mean, the steward would sit down and just join you at the table. And he'd light a cigarette, and he'd smoke and chat, and swap yarns, and then he'd say, well, I've got to go, somebody over there shouting, and you have to go up and serve the other table over there. But the other table would be willing to wait because they probably knew the stewards. They might be your cousin or your uncle, or there might be a chum. Maybe they lived next door to you.
The island has no stranger. Everybody is your friend. The island of Newfoundland. I long to see you again. People make a living on the land and on the sea. There are people on the island that mean the world to me. I wish I had the power to change the course of time, to live again in Newfoundland, the old man's childhood time.
The conductors were the best-known men in Newfoundland. Paddy Lee, I dare say he might have been a conductor on the express trains across... The express trains were the trains across country, and the branch trains were not. But I dare say he might have been on the express trains for a while, I don't know, but he was mostly on the Conception Bay branch. Every man, woman, and child in Conception Bay knew Paddy Lee. And he knew all the secrets of that bay. He knew every family secret. Everybody confided in him. He was a tremendous figure. He was more than a conductor. He was the father, you might say, of Conception Bay.
What are you going to do with the unemployed? You're going to give them a road repair,
Well,
give them
we're
work
running
repairing
around on a
roads
horse
and
and
everything?
buggy.
A man who worked
Like
20,
you've done
25 years
before.
in the railroad, and are you going to retrain him? A man 50 or 55 years old, you're going to retrain him to do mechanic or driver or something? Would you like to be replaced after 50 or 55 years old? Would you like to be replaced with a different job? I think you would.
Well, any man worked on a railway for 25 years, he should suspect that.
No.
He should be prepared, because there won't be any railways in a few years.
What do you do here for the railroad?
Well, I looked after the wind, both night and day when the wind is on. And I report if there's too much wind, the train stops.
How can you tell whether there's too much wind?
Well, I goes out by the door and puts my hand up, and there's too much wind, I got to stop the trains. And by the crack of the house and on the roof.
Oh, by the creaking of your house?
Yes, there, the house and the roof.
How bad are the winds down here?
120 miles in times.
Really?
Yeah.
Has the train ever been blown off the track?
Yes, we had 22 boxes, that's 22 years ago, blown off. And the caboose was burned down there at the brook.
Yeah.
And the man, well, he saved, but he was pretty miserable.
And what happened in that storm? Did you not warn them that it was...
Yes, my dear, Lockie, that's my husband, warned Mr. George, Mr. Louis George, for the trains not coming in. Let her out about 12 o'clock at night.
And they sent them through anyway?
Send them through, yes, my dear. And Mr. Snowgrow, he was the conductor on the train.
And it went through and blew off the track?
Blew off the track, yes, dear. 22
right out-
boxes, right out over the track.
Do you must lead a pretty lonely life here in Recco?
Well, I do in times. You know, there's lots of times I go to bed and worry, and you can't sleep. There's night after night you don't get any sleep, whatever.
Why is that? You're worrying about the railroad?
Worrying about the railroads and the trains in case they blow off.
But most of the time they obey your instructions.
Yes,
right?
my dear. Now, night before last, there was a man at Doyle's, and he disobeyed me. I told him not to send the train out, and he sent her out.
And what happened? Did anything happen?
No, nothing ever happened so far.
But you're worried about it
I'm
anyway?
worried about it.
It must get awfully cold down here.
Oh,
at night.
my, it's wonderful.
Can you tell what the velocity of the wind is by just holding up your hand?
Yes, my dear. I just can tell how it is now. I'm so used to it.
Did it take you long to figure that out?
No, because girl, when my husband began, see, I had to take it over. He used to began lots of times work.
So you're carrying on his
Carrying
his
it
work.
on, yes, girl.
Oh, there was a time in this fair land when the railroad did not run, when the wild, majestic mountains stood alone against the sun. Long before the white man